Lee Summit is your destination for big city vibes and small town charm.
Head to the downtown Lee Summit Farmers Market, where local meets fresh. Then grab a cup of coffee and discover a variety of shops and boutiques just around the corner. Continue the fun in downtown Lee Summit at a retro arcade bar. Discover your new beer at one of our 6 locally owned breweries. Cool off with some handcrafted cocktails at happy hour. End the night with live music and good company. Lee Summit, Missouri.
Hello, Lee Summit. Here's your flash briefing for the week of June 17th. City Council will meet for regular session Tuesday night at 6 in Council Chambers in City Hall. Meetings are open to the public or watch live on the city's YouTube channel. If you can't watch, catch the recorded meeting on demand on the YouTube channel or by subscribing to the Council Debrief newsletter, which breaks down 3 to 4 key agenda items. Subscribe at cityofls.net. Do you want to become more involved in your community? The City's Wellness Commission is recruiting members. The Commission advises and recommends to City Council plans, programs, and projects that improve the health and well-being of residents. Apply today at cityofls.net. Sunshine is in the forecast for Lee Summit this week. Let the Lee Summit Tourism website be your guide to summer fun with upcoming events, itineraries, and over 180 restaurants to choose from. Embrace your inner tourist. Visit lstourism.com. And mark your calendars for Legacy Blast on July 3rd from 6 to 9 p.m. at Legacy Park. Gates open at 6 p.m. and the fireworks show begins at 9:30 p.m. Tune in to 94.9 KCMO during the show for music choreographed to the fireworks. Concessions and food trucks and more will be at the sports venue surrounding Legacy Park before the show. Be sure to arrive early to join in on the fun. Learn more at lsparks.net. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
Welcome to the Lee Summit Sign Department. We are going to walk you through our process from start to finish. We make signs as needed here. It's not like we just go out into the field and place a speed limit sign here, no parking here. Our traffic engineers, they go through and they'll do field studies. They'll send us down an engineering work order for us to go out, place new signs or remove signs as needed. Coming from the material, our blanks come in and they're just aluminum blanks. We can put our white, our red, our fluorescent yellow, green, whatever. And basically what it looks like is just that there. Throw it up into the roller. And once we got it covered, take it to our work table here, and Tim will cut the corners, cut all the access off to where it's lined up right. As far as the plotter and the software that we use, there's a street name sign there, and he's gonna go ahead and print that out on the plotter so you can see the plotter and how it operates and runs. There's standards for the height, even just on letters on the sign blank. Basically what we have on the computer there is it's pretty much set up to those. And it goes through, it's got a very small but sharp needle that goes through and cuts everything out letter by letter. Once that's done cutting, our next stage would be bringing it over here. Currently picking out the sign letters right now. We call it weeding or picking or however you want to call it. Next, putting it on the transfer tape. Then after it's taped, we bring it over to the roller. That's where we apply it to the actual sign blank. And we'll roll it through one time just to get the air bubbles out. And the last stage is basically just taking the transfer tape off the front of it. And there's a finished product of the street name sign. We'll take you out to the field and show you our process that we go through. We're going to go out and follow our sign guys and get something installed for you. This is where we check our underground utilities. Tim, you got AT&T?
AT&T's back here.
Evergy, Google, so we should be good to go. We normally put all of our stuff together out in the field. Then once the base is installed, we'll go ahead and put the post in there. We've come up to perfect. And that's how we do it. Simple, quick.
Traditionally, we think as police officers, those responding to law enforcement needs within the community. But honestly, we are there to serve our citizens, and our citizens do go into crisis. They do have mental health crises, and we're being called to those scenes on a regular basis. In order to help serve those citizens better, we did initiate the Crisis Intervention Team Program. These are officers that are specially trained to de-escalate crisis situations. Recently, we've brought co-responders onto the scene, licensed qualified mental health professionals housed within our police department, and they respond with those officers directly to those scenes where a crisis is occurring so they can interact with that citizen and get them the help they need right there on that scene.
The co-responders are either a bachelor or master level in a behavioral health related field. They wear plain clothes, they don't carry weapons or anything like that.
I have a police radio that I listen to all day. Listen for, those key words: mental health, behavioral health, crisis.
There's a lot of officers that just call for me. I have my own radio number.
I also have the ability to self-dispatch to them and say 982 is en route.
Officers en route, 914, Armstrong.
So typically I arrive after they've made it safe. I'll make contact and get kind of the rundown, and then I just kind of jump right in.
Like, hey, my name's Allison. I'm a mental health professional. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to take you to jail or arrest you.
Sometimes all a person needs is a voice, someone neutral, someone outside that, can listen. I do a lot of safety planning, including family, their support network, who's close to you. If they're home alone, who can come over and hang out with you today? Can we lock away your sharps? Can we put up your meds? Do you need meds? Can we get you over to the urgent care to get you assessed for your medications? Some of them also are like, oh, I'm so glad you came. This made me feel so much better.
Our main goal as co-responders is to, one, get people connected to the services that they need, and also divert from emergency rooms and jails.
And they almost get a different view of the police responding. That lets me know you care and the officers care.
Please, how can we help you?
My husband has...
In 2020, we had 722 mental health related calls for service. 2022, by that time, 1,479. These mental health related calls for service are increasing. How we're responding to that is increasing the number of crisis intervention team officers we have available, as well as the number of co-responders we have available to respond on these calls.
So what I think is important for the community to know about the co-responder program is that we're here, we exist. All you have to do when you call 911 is ask for us. Say, hey, I want a co-responder to respond to this crisis, and we'll go. I was really struggling about 8 years ago on my personal journey with mental health, and I met some amazing social workers and amazing programs that have helped me get to where I am today. I really couldn't see myself doing anything else. We want to help, and that's what we love to do.
So I had a client, we got a call, she had some suicidal ideations, and she really felt that she had nobody. And and getting to know her story and getting to know who comes around and sees you, well, then we found a support person, and they responded immediately, and we made a plan. I called back and checked on her in an hour, and then I checked on her in 2 hours. We were able to get her into the additional services to where she talks to someone every week or more. I just took a person that really just thought they had nobody and nobody would show up for them, and show them you do. And you'll be amazed who is in your corner if you just simply say, I need a little help.
Councilmember Hodges.
Thank you. I love where you guys are coming from. You're local and you're all kind of coming together. But where I'm struggling with from the last time that we talked about this, I think it was maybe October.
I actually grew up in my district. We moved here my sophomore year in high school. My parents still live in the same house, and I just went through high school here and then have stayed in Lee Summit ever since. The neighborhood that my parents live in is Canterbury. My favorite thing, and I still do to this day, is I love to go running. They have the best sidewalks. I feel like you can go for days. So now I still get to do that since I live not too far from them. I get to use those same routes that I took during high school, and it's just fun. All right, let's see it, Jess. Come on. We're a big soccer family. I love sports, I love to watch sports, and it's even more fun to watch sports when my kids are in it. I coach my middle daughter Josie's team. I have since kindergarten. We do the basketball, we do softball, we're gonna do volleyball, and it's just so much fun. Something that I would like to accomplish while on city council is to get more family activities here. You know, I don't want to have to be driving my family to, say, the Kansas side or any other city but my own. And I want to be able to invest in our city and make family memories in our city.
Open the public hearing in the matter of K1 Speed, Diventures,
Crack Shack, Blue Jeans Golf.
I just want to say thank you for bringing this to Lee Summit. I grew up at this. My grandpa would take us there, so I'm excited that now I can take my kids there.
Bill number 23-0, pre-construction services for the downtown Market Plaza project.
I'm just as excited as everybody else about the downtown marketplace. I'm extremely excited about the community that it's going to bringing more family things to do to the city and right in the heart of it.
When you presented the numbers, the first time you came to us, it was 25.5%, and then a lot of...
You know, people were like, oh, you know, being on council, it's not a lot of work, not a lot of... I think it was a bit of a surprise when there's so much info that you realize you just don't know. Even something as simple as sidewalks. It's like you don't realize how much goes into something like that. After a couple months, I'm like, okay, I'm finally, you know, catching the groove of how things work, learning new things, but also feel like I've got some things under my belt as well. It's been a great experience so far.
Okay, welcome everyone. Would you please rise for the invocation and stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Heavenly Father, we gather this evening to focus on the needs of our community and consider decisions that will make Lee Summit a better city to live in. Give us the wisdom to render those decisions that are in the best interest of our community. Lord, we also ask you to remember the life and legacies of recently departed firefighters Captain Gene Martin and Captain Tom Loy, who selflessly served and protected our community for many years on the Lee Summit Fire Department. As we mourn their passing, we ask for comfort and strength for their families and friends. Amen.
Okay, again, welcome everyone. I'm calling to order the City of Lee Summit regular session number 7. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Carlisle?
Present.
Councilmember DeMoro?
Here.
Councilmember Hodges?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez?
Here.
Councilmember Lovell? Absent. Councilmember Pryor? Here. Councilmember Rader? Present. Councilmember Shields?
Here.
And I'm here too.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mayor Barrett. I'm a little out of practice.
First thing on the agenda is the approval of the approval of the agenda. I have a motion to adopt the agenda by Councilmember DeMoro, seconded by Councilmember Pryor. Discussion? Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem is going to be voice votes right now while his computer is restarting.
Perfect.
All right, please cast your vote.
Aye.
All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 8-0. Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. I do have a motion to adopt the consent agenda by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote.
Aye.
All votes are in. Please record the vote. It also passes unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have items of general interest, things going on in your district, things like that, with our council roundtable. Councilmember DeMoro.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to congratulate the Waters Utility Department on their recent accreditation being granted. That puts them in line with the other 4 entities that have been accredited in the city. That'd be number 5. We're one of the select cities that have 5 entities that are accredited. So congratulations to Mr. Schaffler, the entire Water Utilities Department for their hard work and dedication and making the accreditation. Thank you.
Congratulations. I'll give them an applause on that one. Thank you, Councilmember DeMoro. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a bunch of events going on downtown coming up here soon. This Thursday is Ladies' Night Out. And then on June 22nd is the Jazz Festival. And then June 28th is Music in the Park. So just lots of great opportunities to get out, bring the family, do a little shopping. So hope folks come out and support our downtown.
Thank you. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you, Mayor. Never mind.
Sorry. You can try again later if you'd like at the council comments. It's been a tough week. You heard the prayer from Councilmember DeMoro. We've asked Mr. Dunning, what can we do to show more support, more love, more resources for the fire department and all of our employees. And I think you can either maybe say a few words now, or you can wait till later tonight. If you've got things prepared that you want to say later tonight, you can. But it's up to you, Mr. Dunning. But it's hard. People reach out. They want to know how they can show that they're grieving and that they are want to show support. So And I know Councilmember Pryor has definitely made herself available to everybody and has been a strong leader in that way for us through this time. So it's just hard to talk about.
It is, but it's necessary to talk about, right, how we're feeling. Excuse me, and we appreciate all the support from the surrounding fire departments and resources that are coming to bear too for our firefighter family, and then our HR department's working diligently, very diligently, to make sure that we have all the support and resources available to anybody. So I think we're doing well, but yes, certainly grieving.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's go to public hearings then. Let's do some business to start off with. I don't really need a sheet, but I follow a sheet. 6 years, and I still follow a sheet checklist. So I'm closing the regular session and open the public hearing in the matter of agenda item 4A. This is a preliminary development plan, Cobey Creek, 500 Southeast 150 Highway. Clayton Properties Group applicant is the applicant. Would all those wishing to speak to this matter please rise and be sworn in by the city clerk. And she's our interim city clerk tonight, our assistant city manager. Okay, does the applicant have a presentation?
Good evening. My name is Christine Bushyhead with Bushyhead Law, 315 Southeast Main, Lee Summit. I'm here on behalf of Clayton Properties Group, the applicant for the Cobey Creek PDP application. You'll also hear from other members of our team in our presentation. Under new leadership, the former Summit Homes and Clover and Hive business groups have come together under one mantra, and that is opening doors to a better life. We are providing home ownership opportunities for the missing middle by intentionally developing new communities and floor plans with efficiency and long-term values of the forefront of the design. Our mission aligns with the City of Lee Summit's comprehensive plan to support the missing middle, which is the city's term for a desired price range for quality housing for the City of Lee Summit. More about what that looks like in a moment, but to be clear, this is a for sale residential product. Our technical team is myself. We have Kevin Roner from OWN Civil Engineers, Travis Roof, who is our development manager at Summit Homes, and Valerie Gindelsberger, our product innovator, contributed to the product that you'll see this evening, but will not be here this evening. The application before you is a revised residential development plan. The plan was originally approved in the summer of 2018, and these dates are all going to kind of be important as we set this conversation. A rezoning of the property from ag to PMIX, which was 6 years ago. So why the change? How is the current residential PDP development design not working as it was planned in 2018? It's the marketplace, and we have some information to set that for you. As we start this conversation about the missing middle, we'd like you to consider your own life stages, the types of housing you lived in, and where you, your family, friends, and their parents are today in their housing choices. In 2018, when the subject property was rezoned, the plan contained the commercial lots which are present in the application, a unit mix of single-family homes, which is present in this revised plan, and twins, formerly referred to in the industry as duplexes, are also there, which were also in the original plan. At the time, in 2018, the mortgage rates were at 4.7%. When house construction ultimately began, it didn't begin till 2020 because you have to put the infrastructure in first. And the interest rates were at a historic low because of the pandemic, as you'll recall, with federal lending rates near zero. So only 2 years later, though, in 2022, according to Freddie Mac, the average 30-year interest jumped 4% in 10 months, from a 3.22 to 7.08. And of course, today, even as late as today, June 18th, 20 months later, the average 30-year fixed is still 7.01%. So that's kind of sets that idea, as well as the construction materials were not spared the impact of COVID. With soaring inflation in the calendar years of 2021 and 2022, which have not recovered, and similar to interest rates, will not fully recover. The cost of money directly impacts the cost of housing. The cost of money directly impacts the cost of housing. It also impacts the secondary resale market, which is traditionally the source of attainable housing. In this era, according to statistics gathered by the Kansas City Home Builders Association, approximately 77% of the mortgaged homes across this nation have an interest rate of 4% to 4.99%, 77%. 86.6% of the mortgages across this nation have an interest rate below 6%. This means in these economic times, these homes are not likely to enter the current market. These homeowners are not candidates for trading up market because you can't buy more square footage. These homeowners are not candidates for downsizing because you can't purchase a new home and create a significant cash holding from your equity. This reality directly impacts the available existing homes sale market. In addition, a third of the homes in the U.S. are owned by persons 65 years and older, with 40% of those homes having no mortgage. However, with the rising costs of health care, age in place is the new mantra of the gray tsunami, who are now not as quick to sell their homes as they move into retirement. The new intentional choice to age in place and not sell that legacy home impacts available existing housing inventory. Attainability, being able to afford, and availability, existing home market, have become significant impediments to home ownership. So what is considered attainable housing? Well, it's what it always was. The cost of housing, in this instance a mortgage, plus utility payments which total 30% or less of a household gross income. Always been attainable. So here are a couple slides to help us with that conversation. Clayton Properties analyzes the market terms of the attainability zone, which correlates to the missing middle. The Lee Summit median household income is approximately $89,140 per the census reporter. The KC Metro purchasing power, or attainable housing for this household income, is highlighted in green at $325K to $396,000 using the 30% or less household income formula. Clayton Properties has developed a product to serve this market and make homeownership a real possibility. The purpose of the other data there on the right side of your screen is to show that the marketplace is supporting that product. In the prior quarter, 20.7% of the Summit Homes home sales were in that Lee Summit attainable range. So what does the median home price versus the median household income ratio look like historically? Well, we got this 30% or less number because that's kind of where we have been since 1971 through 2002. 3.8%, or 3.8 times, the median household income is where that attainable number was, and that's where our mortgages fell, and that's the people who qualified and bought homes through those years. Then in 2003 to 2019, the average home price was 4.7 times the median household income. Attainability begins to become a little more elusive. And then from 2020 to 2022, the average home price was 5.4 times the median household income. Again, we need to get back to the point where folks are spending 25 to 30% of their household income on the mortgage and the utilities for housing. And that is attainable. We also need to consider, as we talk about this, what's going on that other 65 to 70% of that household spending, the inflationary impacts on car prices, food prices, gas prices, education, childcare. Our prices are going to align very nicely with the resale homes that we're seeing and also the attainability factors. So if in using the median household income, attainability is at 335 or so here in Lee Summit, and our homes were at 362, 694, that area. These you'll find in the presentations we talk about what is in this home and what we have done in the design of these homes to get them to that attainable level. You'll see that we have different levels of finish, those kind of things that help get as many families into home ownership as possible. So why is home ownership so important? The Jackson County Health Department reported to the Lee Summit City Council recently that the lack of attainable housing is a health issue, and everyone has seen it as a health issue. And the Missouri Municipal League and its November-December 2023 municipal review had an extensive housing issue coverage on this topic. And the theme was pretty much housing is a basic need, but it is also a means for wealth creation. The intergenerational wealth that many people talk about is really the fact that people in those 70s and up who bought the homes, held the homes, created that equity piece that they then sometimes were able to pass on to their children. And then finally, all aspects of our economy contribute to what is financially attainable and what is available. But the other good news about working on these prices is for the existing property owners, especially in Cobey Creek. Cobey Creek has not been able to move forward as planned in 2018. And 6 years later, we're here to give you a plan that will help this to develop out. And being in a unfinished, almost looking like abandoned development because of the marketplace, is not to the best advantage, we believe, to the homeowners that are there. But what we also know in our 20-year experience is that the per square footage cost of new construction is higher than the per square foot appraised value of existing homes, and ends up increasing the per square foot appraised value of the homes in and around our communities due to the higher costs of the new construction. Cobey Creek is an intentionally designed community to create a pathway to home ownership today. And I have a video to share. Let's see if I can do this.
Good evening, Travis Roof, Summit Homes Development Manager, 12030 Southeast 30th Street, sorry, Lee Summit, Missouri. So tonight we also have Kevin Roeder with Own Engineer on the project, and he can answer any of the engineering technical questions. I can answer any of the developer home product questions and HOA stuff as well. So just a little overview, existing conditions. We purchased this property with the first phase already developed, 50 lots in there, sorry, in this, and we built roughly half of the homes in there. There's still some vacant lots left, but it's definitely been a slow absorption in that area, so that's why we're coming back with this plan to try to get more attainable housing and meet that missing middle. So this is the overview of that. The staff report is actually very, very good. This just kind of shows phasing, so I'll let them do their presentation, and then if you guys have questions afterward, I'm happy to answer any of that. But in this red area is our first phase. No change to this section here from what the original plan was. This was always duplexes on the initial plan. We changed the road network, got rid of the cul-de-sacs, be a little more efficient and easier maintained for public works, all that, snow removal. And then we transitioned, we did some 50-foot lots along the adjacent existing homes, enlarged the amenity site as well, and then get into some 40-foot lots along the perimeter here, and then we put the townhome product here. So that's kind of brief overview of the community. The compatibility, we're looking to be similar kind of square footages and stuff, actually not too far off from what was originally built there. So prior PDP single family product was 16 to 2,000 square feet with reverses at 2,200 and 3 car garages. Proposed we're ranging from 1608 to 1856 on single family. Previous, the twins or duplexes were 1,000 square foot per side. Our plans are 1,502 per side. And then the townhomes range from 1,330 to 1,450 a unit. So one of the big things we're doing, you guys are probably aware Casey Moe adopted new codes. It's been kind of painful out there, but we saw that as coming down the road, and also from Clayton, our parent company, they're very much about energy efficiency. So everything's going to be built to the Energy Star standards, 3.20 level, 2x6 exterior walls, all the stuff that comes along with that. So as far as the quality of the homes, none of them existing homes in there actually have been built to that level. So that's something just across the metropolitan area that Summit is going to. Also, one of the things that doesn't show up in this is we pretty much threw all our plans out the window and went back and tried to lay them out basically on a 4x4 grid to be efficient. We buy lumber in 16-foot lengths. We're cutting off 18 inches or more and just throwing it in a dumpster. So we redesign these plans to be as efficient as possible and have as little waste. So that a lot of stuff on Valerie, our product innovation manager, she did a lot of things to be able to get that price down. Still high relatively from what it used to be, but that's the reality of today's economic situation. I mean, in 2 years, I think our plans went up 38%, with just labor increases and material increases during COVID. So building materials be the same as what's existing there. Front's going to be a combination of stone, stucco, lap siding. The sides and rear will be the T111 smart siding that pretty much every home you see new construction is built regardless of price point. So that kind of gives you some sample elevations there. We did submit all of our elevations in full floor plan in the council packet, if you guys want to refer to that. So we gave you everything we intend to do. Amenity site, we enlarged. This one over here is what we're going to do, but twisting the clubhouse a little bit to give us some more deck space. This was from another community, but same plan. Not really going to reinvent the wheel, change up the architectural style a little bit, but it'll look very similar to that. And these are not small amenities. They're 98,000 gallon pools, about a $1.5 million clubhouse that is for the HOA to use as AC fit. So then traffic, it's kind of a challenge getting in and out of there. Now we have approved plans with MoDOT. We'll be adding a signal at our expense, dedicating additional right-of-way, and the cul-de-sacs, getting rid of the cul-de-sacs made that much more efficient from the traffic study as well in the Twin area. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to staff and then have to answer any questions you guys have after.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members. Shannon McGuire, Planning Manager. Please enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 18.
Please enter into the record A 1 through 18.
All right, as the applicant has stated, they are seeking the approval of that amended PDP for phases 2 through 5 of the Cobey Creek subdivision. The housing types that was previously approved in the previous PDP was limited to single family and that two-family type structure. In the amended PDP, they are proposing a mix of the single family, the two-family, as well as the four-family homes. As you can see from the zoning map here, to the north we have RP4 zone. To the east, we have the existing Phase 1 of Cobey Creek, which is P-mixed, as well as just kind of outside of town there, the subdivisions and the homes outside of town in Greenwood, they're zoned ag and equivalent to what would be our R1 zoning district. West, we have some ag property vacant, and then south, some ag and some CP2 as well. The Ignite Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map does identify the future land use of this area as Residential 1 and Residential 2 land use categories. The Residential 1 is primarily used for a single-family development, and then the Residential 2 is primarily for a single-family detached structures on smaller lots in that 4 to 8,500 square foot range, as well as medium-density multifamily. The objective of the comprehensive plan is to promote diversified housing, and the proposed development will aid in creating that diversified housing and also provide a strong quality neighborhood that's accessible and convenient housing options for our community and residents. The mix of the single-family duplex and the four-family products do directly address the goals as outlined in the comprehensive plan. So some general proposed development plan information here. The overall site is slightly over 96 acres. They are proposing about 289 lots with 387 units total in that facility there. So in this slide is just a direct comparison of the previously approved PDP. The comparison, they are slightly requesting a slight increase in density, going from that 3.14 up to that just slightly over 4 at 4.02. This is less than an acre or less than a unit per acre increase. So the biggest changes are the road network, as they had stated. The previously approved PDP had cul-de-sacs that really limited that cross flow. They've reworked that at more of a grid style network to eliminate those cul-de-sacs. And then with the addition up north, they are adding the four-family homes product in the proposed PDP as well. The applicant did hold 2 neighborhood meetings. There are about 25 members of the public that attended each one of those meetings. There's some of the general concerns and questions that they were fielding at those meetings had to do with the type of product being offered, whether it was going to be rental or owner. what traffic improvements, the compatibility between the existing and proposed structure types, some questions regarding the HOAs, or what kind of HOA would be out there, the proposed amenities, construction timeline, and how it's going to impact the property values of the existing, and then so the proposed layout that they are proposing does complement the existing first phase by positioning housing types that are similar to the existing single-family homes and meet the current covenants, conditions, and restrictions as that were outlined in the first phase of Cobey Creek First Plat. To keep the high-quality streetscape throughout the entire development, the elevations, trim, and landscape of the proposed amended PDP will be the same quality and level as the previously approved PDP. Again, the duplexes, while the street network was changed up a bit, it is in the same general location as the previously approved, so no big changes there. This type of layout does provide for that stepped approach between lower density single-family homes and two-family homes up to that higher density and the narrower lots. During the Planning Commission meeting, there was a question raised by the commissioners regarding to the sidewalks and the availability of sidewalks in the proposed neighborhood. So as what I've done here is I've taken the phasing plan in the, I would say the violet orange or violet magenta color there, outlined all the sidewalks that are there. So there's quite a bit of walkability and quite a bit of sidewalks throughout the entire subdivision. Even if you lived all the way up north, you can walk to the amenity center without having to walk all the way around. There is a nice cut through here, as well as anybody that lives all in the south and get around the community. So during the approval process of the previous PDP, the typical elevations that they were proposing for the duplexes were the only elevations that were provided. They did not provide any single-family elevations. For this subject application, the applicant has provided elevations for all proposed housing types. The proposed materials for these homes will include a mix of masonry, stone, veneer, lap siding, board and batten siding, similar to what we find throughout the community and the existing subdivision. Next few slides, I'll go over some select elevations. This is not the full extent. The full extent of all the elevations were provided to you in your packet. So just a couple of standard two-family home elevations. This will be your standard single-family two-story. Some single-family single-story. This is going to be your single-family narrow lot type. We got a two-story and a one-story there. And then the elevations on the proposed four-family as well. So in this particular application, it's a little different from the previously approved application. They are proposing a 40-foot wide lot in third through the fifth phases. The lots will be, the smaller lots are located on the north end of the property, as you can see kind of outlined in the blue and the purple and the green area here. The applicant is proposing these narrow lots to create more efficient use of the infrastructure and the land that's out there to help create that obtainable housing. And the homes will meet the demands of the market. And like I said, the narrow lots do allow for that efficient use of land while still preserving the ability to construct a high-quality product. The proposed lot widths that they're out here are compatible to the existing lot widths that we have in the community, specifically New Longview, Arbor Walk, and Osage all have existing lot widths of this dimension. So with that, I conclude my presentation. We do have 4 conditions of approval as outlined here and in the staff letter, and I can yield for any questions you may have.
Very good, thank you. Are there any questions for staff or the applicant? Apologies, hold on. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so my first question actually is what exactly is lap siding? It's not close to vinyl, is it? Is it closer to hardy board?
It's not hardy board. Hardy board has a style. Hardy board cement fiber product. Lap siding is your smart siding, same as what the materials on the side of most homes are. It's just, it's for architectural style. It's 1x6s basically. We lap over each other to give that kind of farmhouse look.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Some of the elevations do show that lap siding. So it's going to be the blue here, where it's kind of typical stack.
Okay, thank you. And then will there be anything in the HOA saying that the houses can't be rented? I guess I just worry about
Yes.
there will be.
We committed that at Plan Commission. We have had the attorney draft up. It will not apply to the first phase because that exists. We'd have to go through a vote of the existing neighborhood to amend that. But any phase that we develop will restrict to owner occupied only.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. And then I noticed some of the driveways seem kind of short. Will there be on-street parking allowed on both sides, or is that?
No, the city is restricting on-street on certain streets, so it's only on one side, not both. But yeah, there will be on-street parking. It just potentially may only be allowed on one side. Actually, it's specific in the staff conditions that certain streets only are on one side.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Rader.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, my first question is, when you had your neighborhood meeting, well, first of all, I'll say this. Sometimes when you go into a subdivision where there was existing homes and there was existing restrictions and lot sizes, house sizes, and then you come in with a smaller product like this, there's a pushback from the neighbors. And the reason I'm bringing this up, because I don't think you had any, but I want to make sure that you didn't have any. There was nothing that was said to you when you were there with your neighborhood meeting with people objecting to the smaller lot sizes or the.
We did have some
Okay.
people concerned about property development. The first neighborhood meeting I actually was not at. We had a HOA turnover that I had to be at to turn that community over. The second one I was part of, and the same group of people, roughly 25 residents, came out. And there was a few of them that had concerns about the square footage, price, all that, based on the value they paid. Most of the comments were really related to the amenity center and when that was coming. Initially, they were told when they bought, originally it would have been online about now. The market, we stopped developing for 2 years, basically. So
the market had softened there,
It
and it
substantially.
wasn't going nowhere. So the residents were pretty happy that you were coming in to revive it, put in the amenities.
Yeah,
That's right.
we're doing a much larger amenity. It's my understanding the original developer was planning on reusing an existing home there, but the condition of that was too far gone, and so they demoed it. But we added additional space to that common tract, a pickleball court and playground, stuff like that, and then a larger pool and clubhouse amenity, similar to what we do kind of metro-wide.
Okay, thank you. And then I attended the Planning Commission meeting, so I'm going to go back through some of the things that you mentioned there and ask questions about it to see if everything's changed the same or hasn't changed. So you said that it was going to be 2 years before you were going to be able to really get this product off the ground?
If you guys approve tonight, then we move into construction drawings, and that's going to take at least 6 months. Once we get through the construction drawings for the first phase, which was that area in red, then we'd start development. It's a pretty large phase, so that's 18 to 24 months. So best case scenario would be 2 years down the road. More realistically, we're probably 3 years to have homes that could close.
Okay, and so as I remember, you talked about some pricing on some of the units. And I believe you had a little gal that was here, and I think she said that the townhomes were going to run right around just a little over 300,000.
So we have actually better pricing.
Okay,
now.
good, great, thank you.
We knew that question would be coming up, so we went and sharpened our pencils. So on the low end with the twin townhome units, the base price on the interior unit's going to start at $263 and go up to $288. Currently, the ones we're building in Osage, same product, the actual sales price after people do their upgrades is running around $310 average right now. As far as the twin homes, those are going to range from 1,800 to 1,856 square foot. Base price starts at $301 to $312. The existing homes we're building in other communities, our average price right now is $332. That again, people making upgrades to the interior. The 65-foot lots, which is the initial ones that we aren't changing in the first plat, we didn't change that lot size at all. Those are going to be in the range from 1,394 square feet to 2,538. They're going to start at $350 and go to $397. Then our 50-foot lots is going to be ranging from 1,394 square feet to 2,538. Base price starts at $340 to $440 for those. The homes we're building in other communities there, the average sales price is coming at $425 right now. Again, the upgrades to the interior. And then the 40-foot lots, we're going to range from 1,307 to 1,888 square foot. Base price is going to range from $315 to $365. Currently, in other communities, the average is $344 on our sales of that. So now, you keep in mind, this is today's price. You know, I have no idea 2 years from now what inflation's going to do. It's not going to go down, unfortunately. But I'd expect those prices to creep up in that time period.
And of course, we don't know what the interest rates, this is an election year, of course, we don't know what the interest rates are going to.
Go down,
If the rates go down, it's hip hooray.
People can purchase
But,
more.
yeah, but I do love the new pricing on your townhome. That's awesome.
Yes, that's the attainable
Yeah,
level.
and that was going to be my next question was, do you anticipate the cost of material and goods and things like that to like go, I don't think they're going to go crazy like they did during COVID, but, you know, who knows, right? We hope not.
I really,
Yeah, sure.
That's just guessing for me.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you. I just forgot to ask one question. The houses that are already existing, what is the price range of those?
Actually,
I know
have
it's
that.
different than when they were
No,
built from
we
right
have
now,
it, so the average in there for what we called at the time when we had Clover and Hive and Summit brands, now we're all just Summit again. What we built in there, the average was $469, and that would be the back section, the kind of east property line. Our average there, that was our Clover and Hive brand, was $402,000, you know. Square footages range from 1724 in there, or average, sorry, was 1724 in the Clover and Hive. Average in the Summit section, we'd say it was 2297 on square footage. So there are certainly some higher end homes in there. You know, JFE and some of the other people that were the initial developers, they built in 650 range. You know, but the market has not. It just hasn't sold down there. So.
And is that the value then, or is that the value now?
This was current.
Okay.
I'd say the last 12 months.
Okay.
That day it was pulled from.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You said 40-foot lots. Do you have any 35-foot lots? Oh, okay.
40. Kind of give you perspective, today I got some bids in, excluding land, amenities, landscaping, all the other stuff we do on top. The infrastructure cost is running $1,385 a lineal foot now. So to go from a 70 to or 80 to a 40, you're cutting your price in half. So that's why we're going for the narrow lots, is to bring that infrastructure cost down and let you have actually a larger square footage home on a smaller lot.
Sorry, that dollar amount you just gave per linear foot.
Per lineal foot on high level, and that does not include land cost or our pool, pickleball, all the amenities and all the landscaping that goes along with that. I mean,
Yeah, I'm just curious. That's a lot higher than I. So 5 years ago, what was it?
More than doubled. 5 years ago, it was less than 750 a foot. You know, 22 years ago when I started, we were around 200 to 250 a foot, depending on what amenities, and that included land and all the amenities. Now I'm strictly talking getting the street, storm, sanitary, all that stuff in is at $13.85 as of today per foot.
And you mentioned that Summit and Clover are basically one.
We've gone back to one. We got bought out in 2016 by Clayton Properties Group, and then we realized we wanted to do some attainable housing, but the way Summit did stuff and all the trim and finishes and everything, that was so set in stone. That's why we started a whole other company just from scratch and tried to get more attainable. Now that we've had some significant changes in last year with the company, we're said there's no point in having two. We're going to go back to just being Summit Homes and go for attainable housing metro-wide. We want our average sales price to be $450,000 metro-wide is our goal.
Okay. And I saw somewhere in the presentation you used the word villa. What do you, I'm sorry, I'm in real estate, so what's your
twins.
The twin villas is what you're talking about? Okay. Villa.
I know. The marketing comes up with names.
I know. Okay, and then you did get rid of cul-de-sacs. Were you able to add some lots doing that?
Did gain a few. I don't.
It's not important.
Yeah, not significant. That was more efficient. We were also looking, we know Public Works doesn't like dealing with cul-de-sacs and stuff, so we want to try to go to grid network, make snow plowing easier, stuff like that.
Right, okay. Yes, Councilmember Pryor?
I'm sorry, I have one more question. When you said villa, so does that mean maintenance provided, or is that not maintenance provided?
The initial plan was to have maintenance provided for their twin or duplexes at the time. We are not planning on doing that. That could change, but it's just another monthly fee. We have quite a few maintenance provided communities, and the actual lawn care, snow removal, irrigation, we do startup winterization. We got Bill's Parkwood and Woodside here in town. It's getting pretty substantial. They're over 150 a month now, so we didn't want to put that additional burden on them. If the market demanded it, we could always reinstate that, but we did the original CC&Rs for the villa section that were filed from the previous developer. They didn't file the paperwork with state, so that was terminated administratively. It doesn't exist anymore, and we just plan to operate under the Cobey Creek Master Association. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody here tonight that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to the application? Please come forward. Are there any additional questions from the council? All right, hearing no further testimony, I am closing the public hearing and reopening the regular session. Is there any council discussion on this application? Councilmember Rader?
Mayor, is this a time to make a comment?
Yeah, this is the time you get to say that you love something.
Oh, goody, because I do. So I just want to, I wrote down a couple of things, and as Mayor Baird, I am also a realtor. There's some other realtors up here too. So I'm going to tell you as a realtor speaking that I love this product. I love what you're doing. I think this is awesome. I'm glad that you're committed to helping us get some affordable homes here. I had somebody text me during the Planning Commission and say, is that affordable? Well, today it is. If it's a new build, it's affordable. So I just want to say that homeownership is so important to our community. It gives people stakehold. It encourages them to be part of the community, for volunteerism, to open businesses, to get involved with the community, with community service and other things that happen. And then I want to just make this comment too, that I read, and I believe this is, Mark put this study out about housing, and they say that apartment dwellers are typically in an apartment for 18 months, so they don't stay in a community, where owning a home you do. A lot of people move in here and they stay here forever. I'm one of them. So anyway, I just want to applaud you for what you're doing and thank you. And I appreciate you being here. It was a good presentation. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. I just want to, I'm sorry, because we're realtors, I do need to know, did you use the word affordable in your presentation? Okay, I was just going to say, use the word attainable is what I heard, but. Yeah, I just want to, that's okay. It's okay, it's semantics. It's just, I'm just fascinated by it, that's all. They were very careful to not say that word.
Attainable sounds way better, really.
I don't care what they use, I just thought it was funny. Councilmember Shields?
Thank you, Mayor. I like this a lot. I appreciate that you all have tried to get creative to find ways to bring the price down without losing quality, especially the narrow lots and the increased density. I think it looks great. Hopefully be an opportunity for some more folks to call Lee Summit home. So I'm excited to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Just not to reiterate what's already been said, but I want to thank you also for coming back, for being so intentional, persistent. The world has changed since 2018, and 100% just costs are crazy. But kind of like what kind of has been said already, I appreciate that you all have been creative and the whole diverse type of product that you're wanting to come to the market with. That word attainable, someone's got to try, and I applaud you guys for trying. And I think that's what our community needs, and we need more of it. So this could be a catalyst for a lot more of this type of development, for opportunities to rent or buy. And so just thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Carlisle?
Thank you. I won't duplicate what was said here already, but I do appreciate all those points. I also appreciate the fact that you guys put so many sidewalks in that community. So it's a very walkable community. So that, I mean, to me, first-time buyers generally are having small children, or going to have small children, and they want to be able to walk everywhere and not get run over. Runners also want to be able to run places and not get run over. So thank you for putting in all those sidewalks. That's great. And also thank you for the efficiency level of these, because I think more and more every day, the more efficient we can be with everything we have, the better the community is going to be overall. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you. Councilmember Pryor?
Thank you, Mayor. I feel like you guys put a lot of thought into this and really listened to people that showed up to the meetings that were opposed to this. And I also wanted to say that this is Councilmember Shields in my district. And as far as typically if a lot of people are opposed to something, we get a lot of emails. And I haven't gotten any emails regarding this. So I just want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my district, too. They always forget that part. A couple things. Whenever you have the narrow lots, just making sure that there's parking. I think it looks good to me. The the site plan. The amenities are nice for them being smaller, more attainable homes. And then I do like the way that you referenced it, just to compliment you, even though I was having fun earlier. With regard to the missing middle that you referred to, Lee Summit does have some more affordable homes, but those people don't have anywhere to move to. They just, you shouldn't have to go from 250 to, it's hard for them to go straight to 400 or 450 from there, where the entry-level homes or the new construction homes are. So this is definitely the middle that we've always struggled with, and so that's a positive. And I couldn't say it during the public hearing, but because we're supposed to leave our personal comments, but does Shannon McGuire look dapper tonight or what? I mean, come on, you're looking good. You're repping us good tonight, so I appreciate that. with that, I'm going to go ahead and move this to a vote. Councilmember DeMauro, would you please read Bill number 24-109?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to advance to second reading Bill number 24-109, an ordinance approving a preliminary development plan for Cobey Creek on land located at 500 Southeast 150 Highway, all in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 33, the Unified Development Ordinance of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading. Bill number 24-109 by Councilmember DeMauro. And a second by Councilmember Hodges. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. I don't know if you had discussion, you need to say it now. Any discussion? Okay. Then please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. She was just a little quick on the computer. That's all. No, not you. It was our assistant city manager who's subbing in. It does pass unanimously. Thank you for investing in Lee Summit, continuing to invest in Lee Summit. Where are we? We are on public comments. I have 2 public comments tonight here. We'll start with Mr. Holmes Osborne.
Evening, my name is Holmes Osborne. I want to thank you for allowing me to chat. I wanted to bring up the local nonprofit John Knox Village. It's come to my attention. John Knox has offered 4 municipal bonds to the city of Lee Summit through the Industrial Development Authority, $20 million in one tranche, $42.6 million in another, $54 million in another, $30 million in another. So this nonprofit does about $72 million in revenues. The city, I'm sure, does hundreds of millions of dollars in revenues. The CEO, Dan Rexroth, makes $931,583. That's more than 1% of revenues for a nonprofit. Okay. My day job is I'm a financial analyst. Probably ought to make about $300,000. He's making about 3 times what he ought to be making. CFO Richard Clockenga, $517,901, exorbitant. So his assistant makes $152,000. So their finance office, between the 2 of them, makes $670,000 for a nonprofit. Maria Timberlake, VP of Senior Living. Not quite sure what that does. Doesn't sound like a very difficult job. Not harder than some of your jobs, that's for sure. $417,915. Okay. Now here's the funniest one out of them all. Rodney McBride, VP of Health and Community Services. Sounds like he runs bingo for old people or something. I'm not sure what he does. $312,177. Okay. HR, Lori Johnson, $243,000. Anthony Colombato, VCC Administrator, $203,000. Tammy Hoverston, Assistant Administrator, sounds like a glorified secretary to me, $167,000. Okay. Last but not least, Steve Segerman, Assistant Treasurer, $152,000. Okay. What is John Knox? Well, it's a nursing home. It's got some regular folks there. It's got a lot of rich folks there. And a lot of those member units, you have to show a net worth of millions of dollars. Your police officers, your firefighters, the people who work for your nonprofits are never going to qualify for that. They have a foundation. What do you think the foundation does? It runs up, raises money for dog parks for rich people, okay? That's all this is. John Knox is screwing the taxpayers of Lee Summit, Missouri, okay? It's being run by rich people, for rich people, and my advice is in the future, cut ties with them and make them get their own financing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have another public comment. Vollenweider.
I failed to mention the other night, last week, that Teresa Vollenweider, 5201 Northeast Maybrook Road. The plat that was done for the Collins Mullins property at 5261 Northeast Maybrook Road was done by Bob Anderson. And this is an email from Bob Anderson to me, April 29th, 2022 at 4:47 p.m., where he tells me, because I've done some research, I've told you here, by the time 4/29/22 rolled around, I had taken Surveying 1, and I was finishing up legal aspects of boundary control, that class. So I was educating myself. I was doing what I figured I needed to do to protect my property and to protect me. So this was April 29th of 2022. This was his comment. You are correct. The Collins-Mullins south boundary line does not or not extending south of the quarter line. I understood all that. I knew quarter line. I know sections. I know townships. I know ranges. I know all about that stuff now. I'm educated. I was arrested for trespassing on November 25th, 2022. On November 22nd, 2022, Police Officer Eisberg at the Collins-Mullins house told Stephanie that Teresa Vollenweider owned the land upon which the road sat. And Stephanie Mullins acknowledged what Police Officer Eisberg said. I think it was something to the, like, oh, I see what you're saying. She acknowledged it. Immediately prior to my arrest, in a phone conversation between Police Officer Beeman and Stephanie Mullins said that Police Officer Eisberg had trespassed me. Now, that's the same Police Officer Eisberg that had said Teresa Vollenweider owns the land upon which that road sits. Can we all not make sense of that? You don't need surveying classes to understand that. And what is all of this about? It's about, because this was said during that conversation between Beeman and Stephanie Mullins, Stephanie says, I just want her out of here. On July 5th of 2020, when I was taking pictures of some grading that was occurring because I tried to document everything, Derek Collins comes down to me and says, I just wish you would die. I wish you would die. So when Stephanie Mullins starts saying that things are escalating in 2022, things escalated way before 2022.
Okay, thank you,
And
Ms.
of course, the
Vollenweider.
problem being there's a sanitary sewer line
We're gonna
going
take a
through my
10-minute
property.
recess.
Welcome to the Lee Summit Sign Department. We are going to walk you through our process from start to finish. We make signs as needed here. It's not like we just go out into the field and place a speed limit sign here, no parking here. Our traffic engineers, they go through and they'll do field studies. They'll send us down an engineering work order for us to go out, place new signs or remove signs as needed. Coming from the material, our blanks come in and they're just aluminum blanks. We can put our white, our red, our fluorescent yellow, green, whatever. And basically what it looks like is just that there. Throw it up into the roller. And once we got it covered, take it to our work table here, and Tim will cut the corners, cut all the access off to where it's lined up right. As far as the plotter and the software that we use, there's a street name sign there, and he's gonna go ahead and print that out on the plotter so you can see the plotter and how it operates and runs. There's standards for the height, even just on letters on the sign blank. Basically what we have on the computer there is it's pretty much set up to those. And it goes through, it's got a very small but sharp needle that goes through and cuts everything out letter by letter. Once that's done cutting, our next stage would be bringing it over here. Currently picking out the sign letters right now. We call it weeding or picking or however you want to call it. Next, putting it on the transfer tape. Then after it's taped, we bring it over to the roller. That's where we apply it to the actual sign blank. And we'll roll it through one time just to get the air bubbles out. And the last stage is basically just taking the transfer tape off the front of it. And there's a finished product of the street name sign. We'll take you out to the field and show you our process that we go through. We're going to go out and follow our sign guys, get something installed for you. This is where we check our underground utilities. Tim, you got AT&T?
AT&T's back here.
Evergy, Google, so we should be good to go. We normally put all of our stuff together out in the field. Then once the base is installed, we'll go ahead and put the post in there. These come up too. Perfect. And that's how we do it. Simple. Quick.
Traditionally, we think as police officers, those responding to law enforcement needs within the community. But honestly, we are there to serve our citizens, and our citizens do go into crisis. They do have mental health crises, and we're being called to those scenes on a regular basis. In order to help serve those citizens better, we did initiate the Crisis Intervention Team Program. These are officers that are specially trained to de-escalate crisis situations. Recently, we've brought co-responders onto the scene, licensed qualified mental health professionals housed within our police department, and they respond with those officers directly to those scenes where a crisis is occurring so they can interact with that citizen and get them the help they need right there on that scene.
The co-responders are either a bachelor or master level in a behavioral health related field. They wear plain clothes, they don't carry weapons or anything like that.
I have a police radio that I listen to all day. Listen for, those key words: mental health, behavioral health, crisis.
There's a lot of officers that just call for me. I have my own radio number.
I also have the ability to self-dispatch to them and say 982's en route.
Officers en route, 914, Armstrong.
So typically I arrive after they've made it safe. I'll make contact and get kind of the rundown, and then I just kind of jump right in.
Like, hey, my name's Allison. I'm a mental health professional. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to take you to jail or arrest you.
Sometimes all a person needs is a voice, someone neutral, someone outside that, can listen. I do a lot of safety planning, including family, their support network. Who's close to you? If they're home alone, who can come over and hang out with you today? Can we lock away your sharps? Can we put up your meds? Do you need meds? Can we get you over to the urgent care to get you assessed for your medications? Some of them also are like, oh, I'm so glad you came. This made me feel so much better.
Our main goal as co-responders is to, one, get people connected to the services that they need, and also divert from emergency rooms and jails.
And they almost get a different view of the police responding. That lets me know you care and the officers care.
Please, how can we help you?
My husband has...
In 2020, we had 722 mental health related calls for service. 2022, by that time, 1,479. These mental health related calls for service are increasing. How we're responding to that is increasing the number of crisis intervention team officers we have available, as well as the number of co-responders we have available to respond on these calls.
So what I think is important for the community to know about the co-responder program is that we're here, we exist. All you have to do when you call 911 is ask for us. You know, say, hey, I want a co-responder to respond to this crisis, and we'll go. I was really struggling about 8 years ago on my personal journey with mental health, and I met some amazing social workers and amazing programs that have helped me get to where I am today. I really couldn't see myself doing anything else. We want to help, and that's what we love to do.
So I had a client, we got a call, she had some suicidal ideations, and she really felt that she had nobody. And and getting to know her story and getting to know who comes around and sees you, well, then we found a support person and they responded immediately. And we made a plan. I called back and checked on her in an hour, and then I checked on her in 2 hours. We were able to get her into the additional services to where she talks to someone every week or more. I just took a person that really just thought they had nobody and nobody would show up for them, and show them you do. And you'll be amazed who is in your corner if you just simply say, I need a little help.
When the person called on the phone, she said that there was a dinosaur walking down her road. Of course, we had to go out and check that out. We get out there, and it was a big African tortoise, probably 60 pounds, walking down the road. When they walk, they really stand up tall, so I could see why she thought it was a dinosaur. I'm Rodney Wagner. I'm the manager of Lee Summit Animal Control. So as you can see, we get all sorts of animals here. You got some guinea pigs off to the side. All the windows up here are animals that are adoptable right now. Every one of these dogs is ready to go and ready for adoption. And the same thing with our cats over here. A lot of cool cats in here now, so this is our 3-acre lot we have out back. This is where we do all the walking of dogs, exercise. We also have a side yard off to the side over there, so we can let them run loose. They can run together, and we have what's called play groups. Kind of like having a bunch of kids. Here's our vet room. We have a vet that comes out twice a week. This is our Sally Port where we bring the animals into. This is one of our animal control trucks, and we can hold up to 6 animals. We have a lift on the other side to put big animals in. We actually have temperature gauges in here and in the truck to tell us how hot it is. Once it gets to a certain temperature, we bring all the animals back here immediately. So this actually has traps in it, but we do a lot of wildlife trapping. I mean, a lot. So bats, pot-bellied pigs, horses, cows, emus, a lot of reptiles. We had a citizen one time that had over 200 reptiles in his basement. Caimans and alligators in here that are 4 or 5 feet long. You can't keep those. And people do, and they're surprised when they can't keep them. I'm like, really? You're surprised you can't have an alligator in your house? Our main goal here is public safety and also the safety of the animals. And we have very dedicated people back there, and they definitely stay here for the love of the animals, which also includes getting them adopted out. We'll have about 4,000 impounded animals a year. Probably about close to 2,000 are dogs and cats. The cats and dogs, when they get impounded here, they go on a 5-day hold. And then after the 5 days, if the owner doesn't show up, then we can put them up for adoption. To adopt an animal here is actually really simple. You just come in, look for whatever animal you're looking for, find the right pick. You go to the adoption room up there and see if you get along with them. You spend as much time as you want to in there. From that point on, it's just a matter of making sure they're spay or neutered and all their vaccinations up to par and they're good to go. We have a very high adoption rate because we try everything in our power to get animals adopted out. We have Heart of America Humane Society that we do a lot of adoptions through. And then we also have other groups. We have some people that literally will just look all over the country for somewhere for a dog to go. And we sent dogs up into South Dakota, North Dakota, Washington State. So it's actually, it's a huge united effort to get all these animals home.
Tarzan's got lots of energy. Hazel's got a weird meow. Bell, she wants nothing to do with the other cats. She'll kind of get her grumpy face going.
And the good thing about the people here is that they get all their friends to get animals too. All of us have probably the limit of all the animals that we can have at home. You know, they are huge animal lovers. If it was up to the people here, we'd have 15 cats running around in here. We had a citizen one time out there, and he was bathing his two 9-foot-long boa constrictors in the front yard. Apparently, I was garnering some attention, and so we went out there and had to have a talk with him about that. Why do I do this job? Oh, dude, I love this job. I grew up on a farm, and taking care of that many animals, you can't help but like animals. This is just like fancy farming. You know, you're just bringing animals in here, taking care of them, and find them homes, and yeah, absolutely animal lover.
I'm Assistant Chief Jim Eden.
And I'm Battalion Chief Ben Hicks.
And today we're at Lee Summit Fire Station 3. Fire Station 3 was part of the 2016 no tax increase general obligation bond for public safety initiatives. The station was built and occupied in August of 2020. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we've not been able to give tours or have an actual ribbon cutting. So we want to invite you in today to give you the opportunity to see what goes on within a Lee Summit Fire Department station.
Let's go take a tour. This is our admin side of the facility. We use this side mainly for offices. We have a lot of work during the day, whether it's training or doing reports or just generally taking care of the shift that we need to do. At this particular station, Station 3, we do have an assistant chief that works out of here. That person has their own office where they need to manage what's going on throughout the day with the shift and staffing, and as well as running calls out of here. The captain has their own office as well. What the captain does is at this specific station is in charge of both the fire truck that's here as well as the ambulance. And so with all those personnel responsibilities as well as running calls and reports, that's where they work out of. And generally for the rest of the crew, which is somewhere around 5 to 6 individuals, we have rooms to write reports, and we have additional training rooms and other rooms where people can work. Walking into our living area, I think it's important to recognize that we work 48-hour shifts. So in the evenings, after 5 o'clock, after work is done, we may have the opportunity to catch a game or something else as long as we're not running calls. And this gives us the opportunity to do that. When we go into our kitchen, I think this gives you a great reason to know why we go to the grocery store. When you see fire trucks at the grocery store, what we're doing. Also, for 2 days working for 48 hours, we buy all our meals at the grocery store, and then we come in here and cook, just like you guys do at home. So everybody has their own fridge on each shift, as well as their own pantry, and then we cook those meals here. Going into the sleeping side of things, we've got a couple different things that are significant. We have our own laundry room, which again is important when we're here for 48 hours. The opportunity to wash and clean our clothes and bedding is very important for hygiene. And walking into where our beds are, we keep the kind of sleeping quarters over on one side of the building. It gives us both easy access out to where our fire apparatus are, as well as kind of keeping it a little bit quieter for those people that have been up all night running calls. We have 11 bedrooms here at this station, and the reason we built it with so many bedrooms is we want to give ourselves as a city the opportunity to expand. So if we need to put another apparatus here or numerous other
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We're going to get this meeting, bring this meeting back to order. We have made it to presentations. We have a Lee Summit Arts and Economic Prosperity Report. I believe Glenda Masters is doing the presentation. Here she is.
Good evening, Mayor, Baird, and Council. Thanks so much for the opportunity to present this very brief report, kind of summarizing our findings from a recent survey and study that we did in 2022 and 2023 called the Arts and Economic Prosperity Report. You should all have the complete report in your packet, and then as well as a kind of two-page front and back, or one-page front and back document. The presentation that I'm doing tonight really kind of summarizes and further explains some of the charts that are on that one-page summary. The Arts and Economic Prosperity Report, it's also known as the AEP study in the arts world. This is a study that is facilitated by Americans for the Arts, which is a national arts agency dedicated to building recognition and support for the value of arts in communities. So much like we have a state arts agency with the Missouri Arts Council, we also have a national arts agency that provides a lot of that advocacy, research, and resource support to arts and cultural organizations across the country. So the Arts and Economic Prosperity Report, as I mentioned, is a national study and is the largest and most inclusive survey of its kind to measure the economic impact of the nonprofit arts and culture sector across the country and in our community. This study looks at spending by nonprofit arts and cultural organizations as well as spending by their audiences. And so just to really kind of drive home that this study is specific to the nonprofit arts and culture sector. So that means 501c3 organizations, tax-exempt organizations, but also government entities as well. So information from the Cultural Arts Division, Parks and Recreation, school districts, community colleges, they are also included in this study as well. This report does not include information related to the for-profit arts community. So things like movie theaters, Broadway productions, concerts at stadiums are not included in this study. And then, excuse me, and then information from individual artists is also not included in this study. So they're all equally important in understanding kind of the broader climate of a community's arts sector, but this study in particular just hones in on that nonprofit sector. Americans for the Arts has coordinated this survey for roughly 25 years, and they conduct this survey about every 5 years. And this study here that we're going to look at is the 6th iteration of that study. And this study, this report demonstrates that, you know, an investment in the arts provides both cultural and economic benefits. This is a notion that we are all aware of. We all know that a vibrant arts community really does contribute to the health of an overall community. But it's nice for us to begin to collect some data points to help tell the story of that community. It goes along with that adage of, you know, you can't tell a story without data, and you can't fully understand the data without knowing the story. And so we're now at that point where we're beginning to kind of combine both of those elements together to really kind of understand the complete and full picture of the cultural sector in our community. So a really brief summary of the timeline of our study and our report. As you can tell, this took quite a while to gather information and to compile the report data. So we began collecting information from our local arts organizations and cultural audiences starting all the way back in May of 2022. And that data collection process continued all the way until July of 2023. And then at that point, Americans for the Arts began really compiling and working through all of the data collected, not just from Lee's Summit, but from organizations and survey regions across the country to compile the individual reports for those different areas. We received our report in October of 2023. And then we're now at the point where a lot of the communities are starting to begin sharing that data out to city councils and to Rotaries and economic development councils, and so that's where we are today. Americans for the Arts, because they were the main facilitator of this study, they did their kind of national broadcast and release of their findings back in November of this year. So that kind of explains the length of time between when we received our report and to where we are today. So I'll cover some high-level findings from the report. And again, all of the detailed information is in your packet in the full report there. So the Arts and Economic Prosperity Report is completed in 2 phases. They compile surveys from organizations, but then also from audiences. So in Lee's Summit, our survey sample included 12 nonprofit and local government arts and cultural organizations. Each organization received a survey where they were asked to provide information related to their spending for 2022, and also provide information related to things like volunteer hours, staffing, and then I'm trying to think what else. And then other types of expenses as well. And then the other part of that survey included collecting audience surveys from patrons who were attending various cultural events within the city. And so 231 surveys were collected at a broad range of both paid and free events, and respondents answered questions about their expenditures related to the events that they were attending specifically. And they answered questions around the cost of what they paid for meals, souvenirs, transportation, lodging, and things like that. It's important to note that for this study, each study region's results are based solely on the survey data that has been collected. No estimates have been made to account for non-respondents. So if an organization received a survey but did not respond, no guessing took place in order to try and compensate for that lack of information. So this slide, we'll take a look at the event-related spending by audiences in Lee's Summit. And I wanted to really kind of separate out local residents from the non-local residents, because I think it would be really interesting to see what our residents are spending versus what tourists or visitors to Lee's Summit might be spending. And so when the organizations were surveyed, they provided information on their annual attendance. And so based on that study, Americans for the Arts estimated that on average, in a given year, we have about 277,000 people who attend arts and cultural activities in Lee's Summit. And so when we look at local residents, the study found that local residents or residents were spending about $25.25 per person per event whenever they attended a cultural activity in Lee's Summit. And then compared to non-locals who spent a little bit more than that, about $28.66 per person per event. The thing to note about the dollar amounts that are here, this spending is above and beyond the cost of an admission to an event. So this does not include ticket prices or admission fees. This is everything that a patron would spend either before the event to prepare or during the event, like say souvenirs, and then after the event, say coffee or dessert after an event. Of the total audiences estimated, so that 277,000 people, it was found that roughly about 87% of our audience base for cultural activities in Lee's Summit comes to about 87%, compared to about 13% of our audience base, if you will, were considered non-local residents. And non-local really does pertain to just really being outside of Lee's Summit. And then also comparatively too, I looked at the national averages for the average attendance for non-local residents. And in most communities, the non-local resident attendance was hovering around that 30% mark. So when we looked at the average spending of per person per event, we found that local residents were contributing about a little over $6.1 million to the Lee Summit community in terms of their economic impact. And then non-local residents were contributing about $1 million to the local economy in Lee Summit. When we combined both of those together, we found that our arts and cultural audiences are contributing about $7.1 million to the Lee Summit economy, or have a $7.1 million economic impact to the economy. And so we'll take a little bit of a look at that first column of the $25.25 and then the $28 for non-residents, because I thought it would be interesting to make a little bit of a comparison of how does Lee Summit compare to both the Kansas City region, but then also nationally as well. So this is a comparison of the event-related spending by audiences. And so when we look just at the local level, so local residents, as we saw before, Lee Summit residents spend about $25 per person per event. And then compared to across the metro region, audiences tend to spend a little bit more at about $33.58 per person per event. And if you think about it, that's very understandable. This is probably paying for parking, higher prices for meals, maybe doing things like staycations, things like that. And then when we compare it, Lee Summit spending across to the national average, we're just a little bit under at about $29 per person. When we look at the non-local residents, so tourists and tourism, again, Lee Summit non-local residents, the study found spend about $28 per person. And then again, comparing that to the metro region and as well as the national average of for both of those, about $60. And again, to me, that's very understandable. We have a lot of events that pull locally, and so we pull a lot of local tourism who are probably coming in for the day and then traveling back home. And then I think it's also important to note too, again, when looking at similar communities like Lee Summit, each community is different. And so all of that is to say that there are plenty of communities that I looked into that have very similar, I would say, kind of benchmarks as we do. So this isn't too alarming to me at all. So, as part of the survey, the audience survey, patrons were also asked to answer several questions that kind of revolved around the social impact of arts and cultural events. And so some of the things that we found were that 87% of the non-locals who were surveyed, so thinking back a couple of slides, so that 13% that we showed, about 87% of non-local surveys said that their primary purpose for coming to Lee Summit was specifically to attend a very specific cultural event. Of that same group of non-locals, 69% said that they would have traveled to another community for a similar event if that event had not been in Lee Summit. And then 57% of local attendees said that they would have traveled to a different community to attend a similar event. These 3 bullet points alone confirm, for me, some things that I have known is that people will travel for cultural events. It needs to be something that they want to attend and that they want to see, but if they will travel if that's something that they want to do. It's just a matter of making sure that we have those types of events that people would be wanting to come and travel to see. And then local attendees, so Lee Summit residents, said that they would feel a great sense of loss if the activity were no longer available, and they would also feel a loss of community pride. So these types of questions, again, really just help hone in on the thought that we all know that arts and cultural activities are important for a community. It helps bring a community together, and it helps keep a community vibrant. But for us, it's nice to kind of begin to get this information directly from the patrons themselves and then to begin to put data points to that. So again, it's that data that kind of helps tell the story, and that story now has data to support it. All in all, when we combined the economic impact of our audiences combined with the economic impact of the organizations provided from the information that they provided during their survey, the report showed that our arts and culture sector has about an $8.1 million impact on the local Lee Summit economy. And I think that for an organization, given our our cultural sector, to me, this tracks. This plays out exactly like I thought it would be. It's not surprising to me, again, given our cultural organizations and the great work that they do. So what does this information tell us, and what do we do with it? We have a lot of opportunities, and that is to continue with that data collection process to further evaluate the social and economic impact of our arts and culture sector. We're going to be working with our Cultural Commission to continue a lot of this work, but also to build upon it. One of the things that they're looking to do is what's called cultural asset mapping, where they take an inventory of our arts and culture sector, help us understand what types of resources we have, what do we not have, and what do we want to foster and build and grow. And we can continue to explore investment in cultural events that attract non-residents and encourage overnight lodging. This information will be really helpful as we bring on the new DMO and begin to look more at tourism for Lee Summit. And again, this is just information that can help them as they begin to establish programming and creating opportunities to bring tourism to Lee Summit. And then finally, the opportunity to support the expression of diverse art forms, cultures, and perspectives. Excuse me. We know that having that diverse and vibrant cultural community gives us the opportunity to learn about each other, learn about different cultures, and to really celebrate one another. And so that's a really important aspect of this, of the information that we glean from this survey as well, that it's an opportunity for us to dive into that a little bit further and to continue growing that aspect as well. So with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you again for the opportunity, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, yes, Councilmember DeMoro.
Thank you, Mayor. Glenda, in reading through all the presentations and 3 attachments, there was a lot said about 231 of the surveys, the valid surveys that went out. But I didn't see anywhere in any of the documents what events the attendees were at. Could you shed some light on that? What kind of
yeah, absolutely.
events?
Excuse me, it did vary. So these are local, arts and cultural events within Lee Summit. So for example, symphony performances, theater performances. I'm trying to think of other ones. If we had, we did not include downtown days because we found that trying to stop people, like massive amounts of people, trying to stop them to take a 5 or 10 minute survey, we weren't able to do that. But we did collect information about events like downtown days and those bigger festivals from the organizations themselves when they self-reported attendance and things like that. So pretty much every local arts organization that we have in Lee Summit, we were at least one of their events to try and collect surveys.
And the attendees were approached. I mean, you say, hey, would you like to take a survey? Is that more or less?
Yes, it's they're called audience intercept surveys, and the intent is to be randomized. And so that happened a couple of different ways. We either had volunteers kind of standing alongside an organization's ushers, for example, and kind of passing out surveys at kind of like a random number of people as they were coming in. Other examples included if it was a theater type setup, we could put surveys on random seats, if you will, to kind of help with that randomization. But the whole intent is to kind of randomize who was being asked to provide information and who we were collecting information from.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Rader.
Thank you, Mayor. And Glenda, did you tell us in the report, because I read it all a couple times, but did you tell us over what period of time the survey was taken?
Yes.
Okay.
Give me a minute. Oop, there it is. We began collecting surveys in May of 2022.
22.
And all the way through, or until July of 2023. So we had about a full year of
Okay,
coordinating
so-
with the different organizations to make sure that we could basically just let them know that we would be interested in collecting surveys at their various events.
Okay, very good. And so you mentioned the symphony, the theater, what other cultural nonprofits do we have? Can you think?
You have a lot.
I
and
want
of course,
more.
I'm blanking right now, so
Yeah.
that's great. Let's see. We had 12 different organizations. I don't have the list of organizations here or on the top of my head. I didn't specifically want to include which ones we were using or not, but I can provide that information. I would say that the 12 that are provided here, they're all of the ones that you can kind of think about and that we know, that are kind of like the key predominant partners that we have in the community. The Symphony, the theater, downtown Main Street, Summit Art School, things like that.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I know that when we participated in the Hearts, that brought a lot of visitors. It's hard to quantify, but based on what you're saying here is when that type of thing happens, then the chance that they're going to spend about $28, $29 in our community that day.
That's kind of the information that we've been seeing. And we don't have the information from the surveys that we collected, but we kind of saw them as they were coming in. And so we can kind of say that that was very similar to what we were seeing. Like on average, usually people were going to grab something to eat before or afterwards. And we're grabbing a cup of coffee or paying a babysitter, things like that.
Okay, and then the slide with the 8 million. So when you look at the audiences, 7 million of it, have an extra slide at towards the end that shows that 7 million. It shows that 6 of that comes from our own residents and 1 million comes from non-resident.
You were probably thinking about.
Oh, you
I
were
have-
there. You were on it.
Okay. I wasn't quite sure if you meant the supplemental slides. Let me
That
go-
one.
This one,
Yeah.
perfect.
So, so you're going to take this information and share it with like our DMO. This can be a part of strategic planning with regard to how we can balance this out. Do we know what, can we find out what healthy is, like for a suburb like us? I mean, benchmarks and other communities, knowing what they're doing successfully, it kind of helps inspire us to take action.
Absolutely. One of the great resources that we have as a result of participating in the survey is that we have some of that information from every single research area that was included in the survey. So we have some of those comparables that we can look at of similar sized communities and just kind of see what are they doing, how are they doing it, and what can we do as well.
Right, because you show metro, region, and national average. You show those things, but it just seems like how can we get back? Yeah, how can we? The metro region and the national average there on the non-local is just how do we decrease that gap or increase our? It's good to know because for us we can start asking questions and prioritizing.
Absolutely. It's great
'Cause
information
these are real
for us to
dollars
have.
that come into the community.
Absolutely.
All right, any other questions for Glenda? Much. Crystal Weber, would you fill in for our clerk this week as you are and read resolution 24-09?
Resolution number 24-09, a resolution authorizing the municipal airport-powered paraglider operating guidelines.
Okay. We have a motion to adopt by Councilmember DeMauro, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion? Mr. Dunning, we probably didn't have any operator guidelines. Is that what happened here?
That's correct. We were.
I already knew that because Councilmember, somebody up here told me. All right. Very good. Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 8-0. All right, next page. Proposed ordinances forwarded from committee. Looks like the committees have been busy once again. Councilmember Rader, would you please start us off with bill number 24-110?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to advance to second reading and adoption bill number 24-110, an ordinance awarding the bid for project number 796 for the Curb Repair FY25 Program to Phoenix Concrete LLC in the amount of $2,899,311.82 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt, motion to move to second reading, bill number 24-110 by Councilmember Rader, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It does move to second reading unanimously. Councilmember Rader, would you please read for adoption?
Yes, Mayor. I move to adopt bill number 24-110, an ordinance awarding the bid for project number 796 for the Curb Repair FY25 Program to Phoenix Concrete LLC in the amount of $2,899,311.82 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
We have a motion to adopt bill number 24-110 by Councilmember Rader, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion? Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That bill is adopted unanimously. Thank you. Councilmember Pryor, would you please read bill number 24-111?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to advance to a second reading, bill number 24-111, an ordinance awarding the bid for project number 576-9C for the East Fork Little Blue Area 2 Stormwater Project to Infrastructure Solutions LLC in the agreement of $1,112,852 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, bill number 24-111 by Councilmember Pryor, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It does move to second reading unanimously. Councilmember Pryor, would you please?
I move for adoption, bill number 24-111, an ordinance awarding the bid for project number 576-9C for the East Fork Little Blue Area 2 Stormwater Project to Infrastructure Solutions LLC in the amount of $1,112,852 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
We have a motion to adopt bill number 24-111 by Councilmember Pryor, seconded by Councilmember Carlisle. Discussion? Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's unanimous. It's adopted. Thank you. Councilmember Hodges, would you please read bill number 24-112?
Thank you. I move to second reading bill number 24-112, an ordinance approving modification number 5 to an agreement for professional engineering services for Pryor Road improvements from Longview Road to Hook Road between the City of Lee Summit, Missouri and TranSystems Corporation for an increase of $76,272 with an amended not to exceed amount of $1,540,125 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, bill number 24-112 by Councilmember Hodges, seconded by Councilmember DeMauro. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's unanimous. It goes to second reading. Councilmember Hodges, would you please?
I move for the adoption of Bill Number 24-112, an ordinance approving Modification Number 5 to an agreement for professional engineering services for Pryor Road improvements from Longview Road to Hook Road between the City of Lee Summit, Missouri and TranSystems Corporation for an increase of $76,272 with an amended not-to-exceed amount of $1,540,125 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-112 by Councilmember Hodges, seconded by Councilmember Carlisle. Discussion? Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's adopted unanimously. Thank you. Councilmember Shields, would you please read Bill number 24-113?
Thank you, Mayor. I move for second reading of Bill Number 24-113, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a work order in accordance with the city's on-call construction services agreement contract 2024-0571 with TC Fuller Construction LLC for the installation of T's and the replacement of valves to complete the Maybrook Water Main inspection in the amount of $322,710.70 and authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documents.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading Bill number 24-113 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's 8-0. Thank you. It moves to second reading. Councilmember Shields, would you please?
Thank you, Mayor. I now move for adoption of Bill Number 24-113, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a work order in accordance with the city's on-call construction services agreement contract 2024-0571 with TC Fuller Construction LLC for the installation of T's and the replacement of valves to complete the Maybrook Water Main inspection in the amount of $322,710.70 and authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documents.
You have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-113 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Pryor. Discussion? Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's adopted unanimously. Thank you. Councilmember Carlisle, would you please read Bill number 24-114?
Thank you, Mayor. Bill number 24-114, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a revenue anticipation note, State of Missouri Lead Service Line Inventory Loan Program, Series 2024, in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $153,000, prescribing the forms and details of the note and authorizing certain other actions and documents in connection therewith be second read.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading Bill number 24-114 by Councilmember Carlisle, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It goes to second reading unanimously. Councilmember Carlisle, would you please?
Thank you, Mayor. I move Bill number 24-114, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a revenue anticipation note, State of Missouri Lead Service Line Inventory Loan Program, Series 2024, in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $153,000, prescribing the form and details of the note and authorizing certain other actions and documents in connection therewith be adopted.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-114 by Councilmember Carlisle, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion? Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's adopted unanimously. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez, would you please read Bill number 24-115?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I move for second reading of Bill number 24-115, an ordinance approving modification number 6 to the on-call agreement for environmental professional engineering services yearly contract, original RFQ number 2020-061, renewal 2020-061 R4, between the City of Lee Summit, Missouri and Stearns, Conrad, and Schmidt Consulting Engineers, Inc., DBA SCS Engineers, for an amount not to exceed $158,260 for an annual test associated with the Resource Recovery Park for fiscal year 2025, and authorizing the city manager to execute the same.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading Bill number 24-115 by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It is adopted, or moved to second reading unanimously. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez, would you please?
Yes, I now move for adoption of Bill number 24-115, an ordinance approving modification number 6 to the on-call agreement for environmental professional engineering services yearly contract, original RFQ number 2020-061, renewal 2020-061 R4, between the City of Lee Summit, Missouri and Stearns, Conrad, and Schmidt Consulting Engineers, Inc., DBA SCS Engineers, for an amount not to exceed $158,260 for an annual task associated with the Resource Recovery Park for fiscal year 2025, and authorizing the city manager to execute the same.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-115 by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion? Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It is adopted unanimously. Thank you. And Councilmember DeMauro, would you please read Bill number 24-116?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to advance the second reading, Bill number 24-116, an ordinance approving the award of RFQ number 2024-064 for professional engineering services for the engineering, design, and construction administration of pump stations, and an agreement for professional engineering services for the Jacomo Pump Station Study project to HDR Engineering for an amount not to exceed $100,000, and authorizing the city manager to execute the same.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 24-116 by Councilmember DeMauro, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. Friend, please record the vote. It's unanimous. To second reading, Councilmember DeMauro, would you please?
I move for adoption, Bill number 24-116, an ordinance approving the award of RFQ number 2024-064 for professional engineering services for the engineering, design, and construction administration of pump stations, and an agreement for the Jacomo Pump Station Study project to HDR Engineering, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $100,000, and authorizing the city manager to execute the same.
You have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-116 by Councilmember DeMauro, seconded by Councilmember Pryor. Discussion? Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's adopted unanimously. Thank you. And that takes us to proposed ordinances second reading. Councilmember Pryor, would you please make a motion to continue to a date certain Bill number 24-025?
I'd like to make a motion to continue to a date certain of July 9th, 2024, Bill number 24-025, an ordinance approving a preliminary development plan for land located at 3100 Northeast Carnegie Drive, all in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 33, the Unified Development Ordinance of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to continue by Councilmember Pryor, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That is unanimous to continue that. Councilmember Hodges, would you please read the motion for Bill number 24-056?
I move to continue to a date certain of July 9th, 2024, Bill number 24-056, an ordinance granting a special use permit for motorcycle sales, rental, or service with outdoor display in District CP2 on land located at 3100 Northeast Carnegie Drive for a period of 20 years, all in accordance with Article 6 of the Unified Development Ordinance for the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to continue Bill number 24-025 by Councilmember Hodges, seconded by Councilmember Pryor. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 8-0. Thank you, everyone. Councilmember Rader, would you please read Bill number 24-101 for adoption?
Yes, Mayor. I move for adoption Bill number 24-101, an ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025 for the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-025 by Councilmember Rader, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion? What did I say? Okay. Let me start that over. The computer messed me up. What? Yeah. Okay. Let me. I've been doing this for a long time, and okay. Yeah, it caught up. Okay. Let me try this again. We have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Rader, seconded by Councilmember Shields, to adopt Bill number 24-101. Is that correct? Thank you. All right. Do I have any recusals on this one, Mr. Head? Not on this one. All right. Seeing none discussion, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It passes 8-0. Thank you all. Thanks for the correction, too. Councilmember Hodges, would you please read Bill number 24-102 for adoption?
I move for adoption of Bill number 24-102, an ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025 for the fire department of the city.
Thank you. Now we have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-102 by Councilmember Hodges, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion. Seeing none, please cast your vote. So this is a vote for 24-102. Okay, I have all the votes in, so record the vote for 102, 7 for, and 1 recusal. Bill number 24-102. That bill is adopted. Councilmember Shields, for adoption, please, would you read Bill number 24-103?
Thank you, Mayor. I move for adoption of Bill number 24-103, an ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025 for the Municipal Courts Division of the city.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-103 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Councilmember Hodges, would you please? Thank you. So adopt Bill number 24-103 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Hodges. Discussion. None, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That one passes 7-0 with 1 recusal. And, oops, flip the page. Yes. Okay, Councilmember Carlisle, would you please read Bill number 24-104?
Thank you, Mayor. Bill number 24-104, an ordinance establishing a pay and classification plan for employees of the city who are not represented by a labor organization for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-104 by Councilmember Carlisle, seconded by Councilmember Rader. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It is unanimous. Thank you all. That's adopted. And Councilmember DeMoro, to end it, 24-105, please.
I move for adoption, Bill number 24-105, an ordinance establishing a pay and classification plan for employees of the city who are represented by a labor organization for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 24-105 by Councilmember DeMoro, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion. Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It passes 7-0 with 1 recusal. Takes us to committee reports. It is the last meeting of the month, so you've had all your meetings. Councilmember Shields.
All but one. Rules Committee will meet Thursday via Zoom at 11:30.
Excellent. And a reminder that we're going to do a Zoom meeting next week. Is that on Thursday? Reminder, everyone, you should have the Zoom link by now.
I will not be Zoom.
Yep. Maybe not. Weber, do you think we got the link? Yeah, check your emails. If you didn't get it, please.
We can send it out again, Mayor.
The only reason I said that, I will tell you all this, I don't remember getting the email. It's on my calendar and I have the Zoom link, so I know that I got something. 6/12 it went out. So check back to 6/12. Thank you, Councilmember DeMoro. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you. Is that just something I just don't even need to even bother zooming in at all, right?
I'm sorry. That is, I'm sorry, Mr. Dunning, that is the 45-day for the loggers.
It'd be for second reading of the loggers change of that ordinance. And then we also anticipate we'll need discussion on insurance with some of our insurance lines to get that done before.
So, Councilmember Pryor, we are adding an emergency ordinance, or is it an ordinance? It is an ordinance regarding property and casualty because bids came in late and things of that nature, and we need to get it a decision, emergency decision from council to get it in place for July 1st. Mr. Head, yes, please.
The property casualty piece, and there are several lines that we're talking about, cyber insurance, we're talking about all of our liability lines. This is the total package of insurance. We had everything submitted to them by the end of April. We only today received Lockton's recommendation. It's going to require some shuffling. Property and casualty is the big problem. It is the issue that is across the board creating problems for cities because there have been a lot of losses due to weather events over the last several years. So we haven't had big claims of any kind, so it's not our claims experience that's driving any of this. It is purely the market has gone up substantially. So we're still trying to understand what they've sent to us because, like I said, we just literally got it this afternoon. But we'll be prepared to talk about it at that meeting and be able to give you a good, hopefully a good rundown of what we have. There are a few of the lines appear to have gone down a little bit. Several of them have gone up some. So I think we're looking at somewhere around a 10 or 12% increase overall in our entire package of those liability, property casualty, vehicles, all of those insurance lines that we carry. So.
The Little Blue Valley Sewer District Board that I serve on behalf of council, on Wednesday of last week had a meeting and theirs went up 20%. And they're not happy. Messes with your budget. Yeah.
Should I just,
It'd be great if you could make it in and you could recuse on the one and vote on the
so
other.
I can be there for it, I just need to
Absolutely,
just
yes,
recuse
please.
for the loggers? Okay, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports is what we're on. All right, council comments. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention, I think I've brought this up in comments several months ago, but I'd love us to talk about the trash franchise hauling at some point. I don't know if this would be a good time to have it assigned to a committee, what the committee workloads are looking like, but I'd love to have that conversation started.
Mr. Dunning, is that the route you want to go? I mean, it makes sense.
Yep, we had, in years prior, we had some of those discussions. I believe that was working through Public Works Committee at the time, so can certainly pick that back up.
Thank you. Councilmember Carlisle.
Thank you. I just want to once again congratulate the Water Department for their newly obtained accreditation and joining the pack in Lee Summit. Thank you.
Councilmember DeMauro beat you to it, though.
I know. I was about to whoop him.
I'll save it for later. Councilmember Pryor.
Thanks, I was just going to say that I think we should probably all go work for John Knox Village.
Wow. The reason I'm so shocked, first off, is that she said it, but second off, I thought she was going to say something sad, because she's been a little bit somber tonight, and then she came out with that, so.
Well, that's kind of sad in its own right.
Yeah. All right. Staff roundtable.
Couple quick items. We had a road closure on Rice Road in Mulberry, so that's over by Rediscover area. That was a issue with the stormwater system. That's been fixed, and that street is now back open. So just for awareness, we just got that back open. And then for awareness, I know there's been discussion about World Cup planning and things of that nature. We're tracking that. We know that the World Cup 2026 Kansas City Committee is still in motion to try to get their arms around this. But we as management team are having some time tomorrow to really start to put information together on some of our, we're breaking it down in a consistent manner. So we're looking at this from an angle of all of our respective departments, thinking through what kinds of things might we experience and need to be prepared for. But then we're also taking an angle with our emergency management to look at it from a different perspective, but in a similar context. So we're starting those efforts and be happy to, as we start to put that framework together, correspond with the council, and then we know community partners are definitely interested in that as well. So here on the local level, we're starting to put our arms around that, even though from the regional level, we don't have a ton of guidance yet, and from FIFA as well. So those motions are beginning for us. And congratulations to the Boston Celtics.
Yes, I was going to save it. We did win 4-1. And I was just going to let you all know that this team is considered boring by people because there's no superstars. There's superstars, but they're not ultra elite superstars. So, and so they're hard to hate. So if you don't, if you just see it objectively, the Celtics are a true team. One guy lost a tooth in the game too, front tooth.
So you pick it up and stick it back?
No, but he smiled and he was missing a tooth. Yes. No, they're a bunch of very, very selfless players, so it was really fun. That's it, folks. That's all, folks. This meeting's adjourned at 8:16.